want to welcome everyone here tonight. Thank you for joining us. And we're going to start real soon. We have a little technical difficulties. Bear with us. We're going to start real soon. So glad for you to join us. This is the Systems for Improvisation 30-Day Challenge. We're going to be here for the next 30 days. And there's free downloads. Make sure you get your free workbook. I'm going to release a new PDF each week. This week is the Trinity of Diminish, and you should find the link down in the comments below. So, welcome, and we're going to start in a few minutes. Thank you so much. Okay, welcome everybody. Hi Lee from Illinois, and everyone that's here. You guys type into the chat, and welcome to the United Institute of Music Science for Arts Systems for Improvisation. This is going to be our 30-day challenge, okay? And this is trying to challenge myself to do these workshops, to do these free workshops, and to put some of this content out for everyone and for our students. So this is free to join. You guys can share the links. The links should be inside the chat, and if they're not, they're gonna pop up. And you can join us on Facebook. I don't know if the Facebook live stream is I don't think it's working tonight, but we're on YouTube, and like I said, you go to unitedmusicscience.com to get the bonus downloads and the bonus content, okay? So join in. Hey, Sand is here. Thank you for joining us. And this is going to be exciting, you guys. This is Systems for Improvisation. So the challenge is this. And every week we're gonna go over some topics. We're gonna go over a couple of topics, and I broke these up. We can blow these topics, each one up, into whole courses really. But this is the basics, So if you can master these first really 5 core topics, and they're like systems. That's why it's called Systems for Improvisation. That's Art Tatum, one of the greatest improvisers of the world. So we're going to try to tap into improvisation, into your spirit, developing this language, which is a vast language. But we're going to deal with the music, fundamentals of music, and these first 5 systems. We talk about these, the chromatic system, and you guys can go. We have plenty of videos. Some of them are on YouTube on the chromatic system, the concept, and the whole tone system. All right, the 2 whole tone scales, or whole tone system. We use these as systems, okay? And you'll find out why. All right, and Trinity of Diminish, important topic. And speaking of the Trinity of Diminish, the topic tonight is very related to the Trinity of Diminish, but we just released the first free download. So you guys got to go, and it's a Trinity of Diminish workbook, okay? And we're going to go over that over the next couple of weeks. And then the topic we're going to have tonight, which is the 4 groups, the 4 scale families. They're kind of like the cousins, and they're connected. They're connected in these three groups that we're going to classify under the Trinity of Diminish, because there's only 3 diminished scales. And so if you times 3 times 4, you've got 12. Now you've got all the 12 major and minor scales. Now we learn them in these 4 groups, and we're going to see tonight, and that's going to be our topic for tonight. So that's going to be our challenge. That's one of our challenges, to learn these 5. And the last is the pentatonics, and we're going to go over that pentatonics, fourths and augmented fourths, and that whole vast topic. Now, the whole point of this is to learn these symmetrical scales. They're all symmetrical in their own way, and and they're either a mixture of half steps or whole steps or half steps and whole steps or even minor thirds and minor seconds. Okay, like in this case of the pentatonic structure. Okay, now these are special structures, you guys, and I want you guys to really be grounded in these. So that's the 30-day challenge. Is I want everyone to master these first and at least know about them, because it's going to take, this is a lifetime. Improvisation is vast. Like I said, these systems are going to be vast. We're going to use them as tools to awaken our superpowers. Okay, so let me go into tonight's topic. All right, and let's see if we can make myself smaller. Oh, the camera got messed up. Let me fix that. I think I bumped. I think bring it back a little bit. Yeah, I think that's right about there. That looks pretty good, you guys. Okay, now so let's start with this scale groupings topic. Okay, now if you guys have your instruments out, you can play along, and so this is important. You have to learn all of our major and minor scales, but we need to learn them. You say, oh, just learn the major and minor scales. It's like, okay, cool. But this way, you're going to learn them in this system, and just trust me, you're going to understand why they're related. But if you just play it and you start to apply this, it's going to make a lot of sense, okay? And it's going to help us with our improvisation, okay? So let's go into this topic tonight, all right? This is the topic tonight. And so, like I said, these are families. They're four, and we're gonna label them in three groups. So these groups are gonna be in the trinity of diminish, right? So now group one. We're gonna, never mind it's D minor, B minor. Never mind the slide. It's the same. Just look at the note right now, okay? Because it doesn't matter if it's major or minor. It's still gonna be D, B, A flat, and F, okay? So D, B, sorry. A flat and F. Okay, so I'm going here that way. Okay, now if you see that, that's a diminished chord right there. Okay, so that's the first group. All right, now these groups are going to be diminished chords, right? So we could say it doesn't matter. You call it the first group, second group, third group. It doesn't matter, you guys. Okay, we're just going to learn them. All right, now you can say E flat, C, A, and G flat. That's the other diminished chord. And the last diminished chord is going to be the last four groups of tonalities that we're gonna isolate these and isolate these in our practice. All right, and then we're gonna learn all 12 this way. Okay. Now then you have E, D flat, B flat, and G. I hope you guys can turn the piano and turn it up just a little bit. And I hope it sounds okay. And so you've got that group, right? And that's it. So now, it doesn't matter if they're major or minor. Just the major key groups are the same. You see, D major, D minor, B major, B minor, A flat major, F minor. Okay, so we need to learn these together, and we're gonna analyze these. Now we know that these connected to the trinity of diminish, right? So those are the diminished, right? So now let's look at these groups, and I color coded this so we can look at this maybe a little better. And I hope you guys can see this. So this is just group one, right? So let's look at C major, right? Now let's look at these, and let's look at this. Now C major, it has no sharps or flats, the traditional C major. Okay, so we're gonna do C major, and it has no sharps or flats, and it's basically all the white notes on our piano. So we can just play. That's our C major scale, right? Now you guys should know that. That's the first one in the first group. Now let's jump to E flat major. Okay, E flat major. Okay. Now if you notice, C major has 0 sharps or flats. Okay, has 0 sharps or flats. So let's go to E flat major. How many sharps or flats does that have? It has 3. So let's play that. So E flat major. That has 3 sharps or flats, right? 3 sharps, 3 flats, E flat major has 3 flats. Now, if you look at let's jump down to G flat major, right? Okay. Now that has 6 flats. You could say 6 flats because you have G flat, A flat, B flat, C flat, D flat, E flat, F, and G flat, right? So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 6. If you count them like the enharmonics. Now the whole thing is we want to play these. We want to just play these, you guys. Okay. I'm trying to make it. You can just understand these and just start to play these. Okay. And the last is A major. All right. Now if you notice, A major has 3 sharps. Right. So you got 3 sharps, 3 flats. If you look at E and A, E flat and A, they share the number 3. So it's an easy way to kind of remember. One has 2 sharps, one has 3 flats. And if you look at, C, one has 0, the other one has 6. This is right at that mid spot. All right. So these are related, you guys. Now, if you also look, they're related in another way. You could say that C minor is the relative minor of E flat. It is. It's technically the relative minor of the key of E flat major, the minor C minor, right? And you could also say the same thing about A minor being the relative minor of C major, right? So if I play C major, but if I start on A, that's called A natural minor. That's why it's the relative minor. Same thing with E flat major. If I start on E flat, but if I start on C, that's the natural minor of C, what they call the natural minor. Okay, so they're related in that sense too. You see, and then the G flat minor is the relative minor of A major, right? Since A major has 3 sharps and G flat minor, natural minor, they say has 3 sharps, right? So these are related. That's why don't worry about the minor, major. Just learn them. Learn these 4 groups, and that's challenge number 1. Okay, you guys, this week, learn these majors and minors. Now, if you want to go another step, we're gonna take this step by step, and that's your C major. Okay, so now there are ways you can practice it, right? You can say I go play my scales, right, and then I could come down to minor, and then I could go up to this one, and then I could go up to that major, right, G flat major. I could go to that G flat minor and see they're connected, right? Now they're connected through the trinity of diminished. So watch. If I play C major, right? A flat major. So they're connected. Those chords are connected. Chord connected in so many ways. Okay, so that's why they're like the 4. This is one of the families. These are like the 4 cousins, you could say, right? And they're related, right? For your improvisation. So we want to learn the chords. And you see, if you look at my top note, I'm gonna come right down that diminished scale, and I can play. See, so you can practice this in chords. You need to practice all your chords like that, right? And you can make it connect them. Okay, and it doesn't matter if it's where you're coming from. It's a relative minor. They're related. You see, okay. So that was doing the minor. Now, if you want to even go one more step, is that we can go modern, and without going to a lot of technical stuff, just know that they have what they call sharp 11, or Lydian, so-called Lydian, and then they have Dorian minor. You might have heard Dorian minor a lot. So if we do the same thing with our Dorian minors, we want to learn and practice our Dorian minor. So if I play C Dorian minor, right, it has two flats, right? And if I practice, E flat, right, and A Dorian minor and G flat, Dorian minor, right, which you could say has four flats, right? Now, don't get knocked out if you don't know these yet, but you'll learn them, okay? So like C major Lydian has one sharp, okay? And C minor Dorian has two flats. Alright, so just try to play it. I'm going to show it to you here. And instead of playing, the only difference is instead of playing this F here, I'm going to play F sharp. Now, A minor Dorian is the same notes as C major Lydian. You see? So it doesn't matter if I'm using the modes or the majors. These notes, these tonal families, these footprints of C, A, G flat, E flat, C, alright, A, G flat, E flat, that diminish, those guys are related. Mathematically and music, we can't escape that, alright? Now how we can use that in our improvisation, so many ways. I'm going to show you a little lick right now. Like say we're using our Dorian minors, right? So say you're going to learn, like I said, go one more step, right? Because there's so many different types of things. Go one more step, use your dominants, go 1,000 steps, invent your own scale. This is math, okay? This is systems for improvisation. Just master these. Not going to test you guys and say, oh, do you know all your C major Lydians and your A minor Dorians and your G flat? No, who's going to test anybody? The whole thing is like, no one's going to be like, hey, you took a great solo, man. That was, if they are, that's pretty sad. If you're going to feel it and make some music out of it, all of this shit doesn't make any sense, you see. So the whole point is we want to absorb this theoretically and understand it, apply it in songs, apply it in our lines, and let go in our improvisation, And you'll find a lot of tunes, they modulate like through these things too, they would modulate through these things. So it's good to know these things, and when we go into more details of the Trinity, how it connects them, then you're really gonna you really understand how to move them together, But these are just the laws, you guys, and you're gonna come up with your own systems, your own way of interpreting this, but you can't escape it, right? So these guys are related. They're related, okay? All right, is that cool? Now, I hope you guys are following me. Like I said, just know that they exist. These four groups. So, like for instance, if I'm learning my minors, right, and the only difference between minors really is the first the last three notes, right? Because if I play C minor, if I play that guy, that's called a harmonic minor, right? That one after the fifth, you got that, and then if you got they got another thing called melodic minor, right? And that one, and then which only has one flat, you could say, right? So it gets confusing but it don't get confused. It's the first five notes are always gonna be the same. You dig what I'm saying? So now if you go up like the Dorian, see, so once you get up here, there's a minor with each one of these notes. There's a minor that'll fit with any. So let's pick the Dorian, okay? This is the Dorian. So Dorian minor, E flat minor, Dorian, right? It's the same as D flat major actually. So it's 5 flats now. Okay? Like I said, D, C minor, Dorian 2. Okay? Now you could just take like a line, like take a triad or take a line, and know that you've moved up in E flat minor. You related. And say if I'm in, it doesn't matter what key I'm in. When we get, you know that you're gonna, we're gonna know that keys, they're all related through these groups, right? So, you know, when we talk about those minors, you could take a little line, anything you know, right? And that's why I tell you, move it through the trinity of diminished system, which will be like, say, I'm gonna do. And for your improvisation, right? That's one way, and like I'll show you that line, right? So I just took like Dryad and I went up that Dorian. Like, so you should take any of your scales and play them in triads. Your majors, that was a Lydian major, or just your regular major. See, because after a while you're gonna realize that that's D minor Dorian. It could be, if I want it to be, because you're gonna define these when you're improvising. Probably cats gonna be like, "Hey, that's what you played later," because that's always what's happening. You guys will play something with your spirit, and cats will transcribe you later, and they'll be like, "Oh man, Lee, Sam, Jeff, you guys played some bad stuff," and then they'll figure out your math. Right? Because where did Charlie Parker and those cats, Bud Powell, Monk and those guys, they're just creating. But if you look underneath, those laws are there. And even if you go into the avant-garde, man, you're not going to escape music and sound because we're connected. This is all connected. So this is really important, I think, is a foundational topic in systems for improvisation that I even overlook, is to look at these in these 4 groups and try to practice these. We practice our major scales, we practice them chromatically, and we practice them up a 4th, down a 5th, and also we practice them, through the trinity of diminished in these 4 groups. And by doing that, you're going to learn all your scales. And then, one of the exercises you can do with dealing with this is you could just take these 4 groups and move them around. So like, say you're doing say I'm in major, right? And, pick just one, right? Let's make it simple, right? You just start to improvise. You see, you put a little time behind yourself, and you're moving, and you're working out these 4. This is one, but this 4 group, and really getting familiar with them. And what you're doing, really, in your subconsciously, you're working through the trinity of diminished, because these are connected through the trinity of diminished. So I hope you guys can grab a couple of these exercises, but don't worry. You guys, this all gonna be in the downloads for you guys that join. All right, join and get your free download. And make sure you opt in, because some of you cats join, and then you're just like, oh, I don't want any emails. But then you're missing out. You see what I mean? Because then you're not getting all the bonus stuff that we put out, like, all the time. Free content and free stuff. And you just miss out on stuff. And special sales, like we're having a special sale right now. It's a flash sale. It's just for a couple of days. But you get anything on our website for 50% off. And we're doing concerts, we're doing some concerts. I have a great putting together a new trio, and we're gonna have our first show, and that's gonna be available, you guys. So you can watch it from wherever you are. It doesn't matter. You don't have to come to New York. You know, you can watch, and a lot of our artists are doing that this year. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you guys got a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up on the group, and you know that's how the drill is. You see, so take your time, because you say, okay, I don't know all my major scales yet. Well, learn them this way. Learn them this way. Pull out the graphs, and like I said, this is going to be a download for you guys next week. This week's downloads, Trinity of Diminished, but they're related. So go through that one, and you're going to see the same thing, all right? Because they're related. Now you go through the next group, and you can go through the same drill, you see? And you can pick the majors and the minors, but understand that they're related. These guys are related as well, okay? So that's very important to learn your four, and that's it. You just got to do one more circle, and that's it. So there you got one more group of four, and there's only 3 groups, you see? Because there's only 3 diminished scales. There's only 3 diminished chords. And if you just learn these scales this way now, you see, instead of just, you know, just learn the scales this way. So say, okay, I don't know any scales. Let me learn. Well, learn B, D, F, and A flat together. Do that in a week. Learn B major. I don't care what kind of B major. Just do regular B major. And then, you know, like I was with Walter Davis. He said, why don't they teach you that first? You know, Walter Davis said that because it kind of fits with the anatomy in your hand. You see that? Instead of C major, they always teach you C major, which is pretty freaking hard. B major, right? So your B major, learn B major, right? And then just learn A flat major. 4 flats. Right? Take it as chords. B major. Right? And then F major. F major, you know, F major is 1 flat, right? Right? And then you've got D major. It's 2 sharps. Okay? So we learn these, learn them like that. Learn them in a group. You say, okay, I want to learn 4 scales a week. And then in 3 weeks, you've known all your majors and minor scales. So that's your challenge, you guys. That's challenge number 1. We're going to learn all of our 12 keys, but we're going to learn them in these 4 groups. And I want you to master them in these, knowing that they're in these 4 groups, and practice them like this. You see what I mean? There's so many ways you can practice them like this. And so start there. So you just know, and then you're actually practicing the Trinity of Diminished. And when you learn a scale, make music out of it, right? You know, try to make beautiful sounds with your creativity. You see, so learn these scales and then try to make some beautiful sounds. Know that they can connect through the Trinity of Diminished. You know, they can through the minors or the major. So play your scales, chords. Okay, you see, and you practice them, and you practice them in those groups, man, and then you know, you will get to your subconscious mind. That's where the magic happens, you guys. That's where the magic happens. You know, thank you. It's years of practice. You know, like I said, I took out the brain damage for you guys. I said, you know, so I made this, and this is part of the systems challenge, man, because it's like, I had to go through this. I went to school and they taught me all these freaking minor scales. I'm like, what the hell does that have to do? And I'm listening to the music and I'm connecting the dots. And luckily I had great teachers. I had the best teachers in the world. That's why you're teaching. Who you put yourself around is important. It's like they say, oh, okay, cat got talent. But if you don't take it and you try to be around people that are going to push your talent, or be around teachers, because no one comes out and is automatically a genius. You might have a propensity to be strong in this part of music or that aspect of music. And everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. No musician is invincible. Remember that, man. No musician is invincible, So we all have our strengths and weaknesses. But, I think this is, I put this together for you cats so that in this systems for improvisation concept, which is a total concept, but it's just taking the same thing that you'll learn in any music school, but really simplifying it so that you can use it right away, man. You can use it right away. You dig what I'm saying? The Trinity of Diminished was like a hush-hush secret back in the day to a lot of cats. They didn't want to show it to people. And, it took me a minute to really kind of understand it. So you got to kind of live with this. That's why if you practice this way, you're actually living it. And like I said, if you practice in these three groups of 4 scales, 4 families, they're 4 families, but they're related through the Trinity of Diminished. Right on, right? And if we just practice this subconsciously, man, we're absorbing it in a great way, right? Okay. All right. So I hope this is really good for you guys tonight, and like I said, any questions, you guys just type it in the chat. We're going to be back here every Monday for another session. But tonight's topic, like I said, and just for review, I want you to take all of your scales, and you guys can get this, you guys can get this. Like I said, it's going to be the free download, the next one. But you should get the Trinity of Diminished because it's the same information, because this is the Trinity of Diminished. So it doesn't matter where you start. If you just stick with the Trinity of Diminished, you're going to have 4 scale groups. And if you doubt me, just pull out your hand, you guys, and there they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, group 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, group 3. All right? To be specific, this is group 1 in the middle. I call it group 1, or you could say the one in front of you. C, right? Right? And A, G flat, and E flat, And that's, you can see this, right? In the Palm Oracle. But they go together, man. They're connected, all right? And so this is the real science of music. This is United Music Science Theory System. And it should be very easy to understand. So you guys just practice this. Like, say you're doing, like I said, you should take each one of your scales. Take your time. You just take one group, man. You could playing your ass off. And if you take, like I said, in these 30 days, why don't, let's challenge ourselves. That's the challenge, is you guys learn all your 12 major and minor keys, or know how they go together in these three groups, okay? So they go together, right? So you take a C major, right? And you take a C major chord. Of course that's gonna go together too, right? So you can take the scale. Doesn't matter which one. Let's do the Lydian. I like the Lydian, right? So don't get knocked out of her name, but it sounds beautiful when you play it in chords. Okay, for C major, right? Now, if you see that's just one, right? So you take that improvisation. And you can even, you get so many ways to stretch it, you guys. But like I said, for now, just learn these, okay? And then have fun with your own improvisation, all right? You could do a 2-5 from... And you guys want to get to your subconscious mind, you can practice like that. You know, you can practice through these exercises and move them through the keys. But the first step is know the keys. Know them, okay? So that's our challenge, you guys. That is the 30-day challenge number 1. And like I said, we want to master these systems for improvisation. So even if you don't know all your scales, do it like this, you guys, please. You know, take C major, take A major, take G flat major, and take E flat major, and play around with them together. Play around with them together till you can see that they're connected. What do you see? You can listen to these videos and you can try to, until you do it and you see it and feel it and start to hear it for yourself. It's not going to really, you know, we want to absorb it. So just do it, you guys. Trust me in this, okay? And I had, you know, this makes this very simple. So you say, oh, I just got 4 to learn today, right? So just take it easy and say, I want to learn 2 and get to my subconscious mind. I'm going to learn 3 tomorrow, get to myself. I'm going to learn 4, and then I'm going to learn the 4 minors, and I'm going to put them together. Because if you just take the 4 as a palette, you have to see that they're related, or else you're just listening to me and then you're just doing it, but you don't see it. You see what I mean? So you have to see it and hear it, and then you'll be able to do endless things, endless creativity, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful system in music. And we have to thank our ancestors, man, because bebop is all up in this. You know, this is modern music. You have to thank the cats that did this without knowing the theory. That's the beauty of it. You know, you don't have to know no theory to know that this is beautiful. You don't have to say like, "Hey, man, that's what you're playing." It's beautiful when you hear it, and when you. So I want you to take it and find the beauty in each one. So it's just C. You got B, A flat, F, and D. That family, okay, and then the last D flat major, B flat major, G major and minor, or E major and minor. And if you got that, you really know your 12 scales. You say a lot of guys know their 12 scales, they don't know what the freak to do with them. You are way ahead of the game with having those 12 scales under all of the 12 scales, majors and minors under your hands, and subconsciously knowing that they're connections. See, and that's what we want. Right on? Okay, so you guys cool with that? Yeah, we're not gonna have a test, but I'll tell you what you guys can do is if you get it, you know, and you guys got it, and you post it and you share this month of events, we're gonna give away some prizes. So if you didn't know this and you say, oh, I got it, that's enough. I'm not gonna test you guys on this stuff. But if you tell us in the 30 days and you say, oh, I got the challenge and I'm in this challenge, and I want you to bring other people in this challenge. All your musicians that think they're hip and all your friends that are like too hip to understand, or that maybe they know this and it's just another way of looking at it, right? So you say, okay, challenge your friends. Challenge some people, bring them in. And like I said, each week is going to be a new download. It's going to be a new lesson. And you're going to have a week to do it. So this week is mastering the 4, you know, these 4 groups. And these three groups of 4 families. Okay, these 4 scale families, these 3 groups. Okay? So no tests. Don't worry. No test on this, you guys. And, but there's going to be some prizes. So we're going to give away some prizes. The grand prize is going to be Systems for Improvisation course. We're going to give that away, a couple of those. And I'm not sure exactly, maybe even Unsung Heroes of the Summer Orchestra, the classic version, you guys. So, you know, you're going to get some prizes if you come with us on the 30-day challenge. Now, it's great if you bring some friends in because they can win some prizes if they can, and they'll learn something. You know, hopefully you guys can use this right away. The whole point is to use this right away. Okay? So have fun with this. Now, as far as the challenge goes, like I said, we are going to have a 30-day challenge, and we're going to be back here every Monday, 7 o'clock, okay? And there's going to be bonus information. Like I said, if you're new, join and opt in, because sometimes we have workshops, stuff going on that's that you don't want to miss out on. And sometimes it's free content. A lot of times it's it might be a workshop or a class, or it could be even a concert, right? Because a lot of stuff's going on. Okay, so really excited to have you guys here, especially the new people, Jeffrey and Lee. Thank you for joining us. Sand, great to see you guys here. And share these workshops this month. Okay, it's the Systems for Improvisation Challenge, and like I said, join our groups on Facebook, and I want you to share the challenge with all your friends. Okay, so this is the challenge, you guys. You're gonna construct great solos in the next 30 days. We're gonna construct better solos. Our construction solos are gonna be great in 30 days. That's the challenge. And tonight's challenge, you guys, like I said, I want you to make sure that the week one is you learn the 4 families in the 3 groups. This is week 1 challenge. Now, if you don't have to learn all of the scales, you guys, but if you do, great, man. Post it in our groups, in the United Jazz Academy group, and I want you guys to invite people in our group and invite your friends into this challenge. All right, so we're gonna learn the 4 families in the 3 groups that we went over tonight, and good luck. And there's not gonna be no tests, so don't worry about it, you guys. And I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and share the post, and make sure that you guys get the downloads, okay? And like I said, opt in. If you're new, join, opt in. We're not gonna junk food you, and you can always opt out, but you're gonna miss some stuff this month, because this month we're gonna drop a lot of stuff. Like I said, it's gonna be new PDFs and new books that are coming out. Like the Trinity of Diminish is available now. It's free. And I even think the Music Metaphysics workbook, you can get a couple of those left. When they run out, it's just because we ran out. But I think there's still some of those left too, you guys. You guys that missed some of the workshops, okay? So catch the flash sale, all right? Some of these courses, like I said, we're weeding out some of these courses as we go into the new year. We're kind of coming out of a cocoon in the next couple of months. You're going to see a new United Institute of Music Science, new teaching artists. We've got some exciting programs. Some of you guys that are here tonight are going to be a part of this, and it's going to be really looking. I'm really excited to have you guys in here at this time. Okay, we're in this year, and I'll see you next week. Try to bring 5 friends in to the workshop next week, and 5 friends into the challenge. Okay, so good luck, and I'll see you next time. All right, thank you very much.